It's been a while since yes, we are live. So, hello everyone. This is Stephanie Van Driesen over here.
Hello,
Thank
everybody.
you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you for inviting me on this.
This is
fun.
going to be a really exciting episode. It's something different. We're going to explore spirituality a little bit more. And you know, it's not a religious sort of spirituality, which I will also ask you about, like in terms of the stigma that that this might have. But there's so many things to talk about, and I don't know where to start really. Let's see now. Why don't we start with the less heavy topic in terms of there's less to explore. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about... so Stephanie, by the way, of course, is an actress. And she is from KL, and she is in Singapore at the moment to be in a production. So tell us a bit more about that production, and when does it come on?
Yeah.
What do you play?
What do I do? The production is, I actually brought a flyer.
Yay!
It's called Jacques Brel is Alive and Well and Living in Paris.
Can I say that in French?
Oh my god.
No. Is there a French one?
I should have learned that. It's actually originally all French songs, written by this guy called Jacques Brel, who's a really famous French song singer, like art singer. And his every song literally has a very deep message to it, a very deep story to it. So he does talk about childhood and the loss of innocence and how we have to kind of let go of things in order to get what we want. There's a lot of sacrifice. We basically I got called to do it last year.
Nice.
As in to come down and do it because we're putting up it's actually being put up by Sing Theatre, which is the local French, actually it's a French theatre company that was started by Nathalie Ribet, who's this lovely lady that I just met when I came down. So
you've never met?
I've not, no, actually I lie. I met her about 8 years ago. Yeah, met her 8 years ago.
Wow.
So I've been really busy with that. The songs are really lovely. We've got George Chan directing and singing, acting with him. I get to sing opposite George Chan, which is like a dream of mine. Together with Frances Lee as well, another amazing voice, a real belter. She reminds me of Shirley Bassey.
She was recently in Liao Zai, but as well nominated for her performance as Rosemary Joseph in Beauty World. Did you know that?
Yeah. Oh.
Which I met you in.
Yeah,
but,
we
that
were
was like 5 years ago.
That was like 2008.
2008. Okay.
So, and I was actually understudy for Ivy and Rosemary. So, but I injured myself, so I had to sing backup vocals behind the screen, like in a wheelchair. It was very tragic.
I know, it was so sad. It was so sad.
It was very tragic. But I'm back now, and this is actually my first performance in Singapore since
Beauty World.
No, I still did a couple of things after Beauty World, but that was the last big thing I did here.
Cool.
So I'm excited about that.
And tickets are available on
Tickets are on Systic, and it runs from the 26th of May to the 4th of June.
You can see.
Yeah, I think that's better. I'm not good at that.
There we go. 26th of May to 4th of June.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of cool promo. Like there've been a lot of people like, you see if you can do that to your face. Like you can be Braille.
Oh, right.
Which means that you connect. Yeah, you see if we can do that to your face.
I'm not sure. I can't see. So
wait. You turn your head like that.
Like that?
No, like that.
Which
like
way?
that.
This
okay.
way.
Yeah. Okay. Wait.
Yeah.
This is very tricky. With I'm doing a bad job of it.
Well, do one for us and tag us in the video. I'll put links to the show in the video description below, as well as if you want to follow Stephanie. I think she has what's your social media?
I have Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, which are going to be in the link below.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. And then later on we'll talk about how you integrate artistry with spirituality. But I think so as you know, with Dwayne Spin Stop, we talk about health, technology, and entertainment. I feel like this episode is going to be more about the health aspect of it because we're talking about spirituality. So that's part of that, right? And in general, tell us a little bit more about yourself in terms of your experience with spirituality. Maybe you can start with I would say Stephanie is a healer, but tell us first of all how you got into this as an actress, because you discovered this how.
Well, I was studying musical theater at La Salle, And I had a teacher who was also involved in like meditation and healing therapies like that. So he would always invite us to come, after our full day, to just kind of relax and just have a de-stressing session with like free things that were going on around Singapore at the time. And one of them really hit me. Like I could literally feel energy running through my body.
Right.
And I felt actually like pain, like right here. I felt pain right there. And I never heard of like such a thing like a third eye before.
Right.
So I just raised my hand and I was like, it's pain, what's going on? And he was like, oh, your third eye is opening. So I was like, just really curious. I didn't get any of it at the time, but a lot of things that I went ahead and got a reading with the same guy, who told me a lot of things which really resonated, even though they were things which I'd never told anyone about. So yeah, it started this journey of mine. And then eventually I took my first course, which was something called Dolphin Sound Healing, oddly enough, by this lady who came from Australia to do a course here. Just a one-day course and telling you how to use your voice to kind of tone and use sound for the body, and how to bring it back to harmony and all that. And she's a big dolphin researcher. She's worked with people in Australia who work with dolphins and people, and using them as a way of sort of therapy instead of the more invasive ways.
And I've heard that dolphins also help autistic children.
Yeah, they do. There's a whole bunch of research on that right now.
All right, so for now, this all sounds very woo-woo to the average person on the street. Like, how would you? So there's a whole stigma about it. Like, how would you, as someone who's practiced it and things have worked for you, how would you say this? Does it clash, say, with religion, or is it just a mind, body, soul thing that you explore? I mean, I personally feel that a lot of things, like, I feel like religion is the institute of it, right? But it doesn't mean that religion doesn't, I think spirituality and religion are, in some ways there are many similarities. I mean, about love and about goodness and about finding yourself and, letting go of your ego and all these things. So, I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
The thing that, to me, that if it works for you, I always believe that if it's something that takes you back to who you are, back to that connection with yourself, then go with it. And it can be anything. Like for me, it was healing, because it was something that, I mean, we all have stuff in our childhood or things that have happened to us which leave a mark, and we become more afraid, we become a lot more reserved and pulled in, and we don't actually live, every day fully present. So acting began that process for me when I went to LaSalle. It was the first time I started doing, say, Stanislavski, which is a type of acting technique where you actually go into your emotions and things which were there before to use for acting. And then so that helped me a lot, and it still does. And then I found healing, which actually helped me to kind of deal with the emotions without attaching to them, and being okay to be where I was right there, even with the fear. So I feel like the important thing about this, whether it's religion or whether it's a philosophy or whether it's, I don't know, something that you just connect with, whether it's an animal or something,
right.
if it brings you back into that moment and you're aware of being alive, you're aware of why you're here. I mean, that's a big question, but it's like why you are doing what you're doing. It kind of takes you into that space where you're connected to your choices and what you want. I feel like that's really what healing is trying to do, to get you back to that space where you have your power, where you're not just this headless chicken being influenced by everything that comes at you.
Exactly. And in this day and age especially, there's so much coming at you. So this is my disclaimer for it. A lot of it at first seemed really weird to me. But, if you actually stop and observe, this world a lot of it has become unnatural. Some in good ways. Technology really helps us. But a lot of it is a construct, the banking system, the control of medicine and how that's there's a lot of abuse also going on with all these different things. If you look at the different industries, control of the media, how we're thinking, how we're shaping. So all of this is very conditional. And so, like, exactly what Stephanie's saying, I agree in terms of the nature. You naturally want to, and a lot of us are, we have issues admittedly. And it really goes back, if you think about it, to how you were raised. It goes back to that inner child, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, a little bit more. And how if you have like certain issues that you didn't resolve, or certain perceptions or certain bad experiences that you didn't understand or resolve as a young child, and then that gets built upon, so you go down a different path already, and each time you develop another, say for example, negative sort of perspective on that. So these layers build into your adulthood, and then eventually some people would be like, why am I so unhappy? Why am I always behaving a certain way? These are so ingrained in your psyche. And so part of healing is actually uncovering all these different layers that you've built up, right? To get down to the source. And so that's just the beginning of it. So I guess this is what this episode is about.
Yeah, it sounds exciting.
Yeah.
I love this stuff.
So, tell us more then about dolphin healing and sound healing.
Yeah, I'll tell you my experience with it. What was really interesting was because as an actor, as a performer, the imagination is so important, the creativity. But I feel like it's true for everybody, really. Like if we don't have creativity or ability to kind of imagine and do things, we can never actually do anything new or inventive, which is what actually the world is based on. There's always something new coming about. But when I discovered this modality, I was at that point where I was highly emotional, being an actor, everything is heightened. And this was a way that I felt like I was suddenly connected to a bunch of people that I connected to on a different level, that I could be safe with, I could open up and be vulnerable with. You can be vulnerable on stage as well, but this was just another way of doing it.
Right.
And we had this really interesting meditation because she was like, okay, so we're going to like connect to each other, we're going to hold hands and we're just going to like imagine that we're swimming in the ocean,
Right.
And she didn't really kind of lead what was going to happen. She just let it happen. And you could feel like, I could feel energy, because the thing, I feel like I'm quite sensitive. Like I've done a lot of sort of energy healing work.
Right.
So I can feel like when there's sort of the circulation or the energy flows through me.
And this is not too far removed from the whole concept of when I get an inkling or a vibe about something. All these things, it sounds a little woo-woo, but energetically speaking, these are things that are happening.
Like you get vibes from people, like
exactly.
how you can tell, this guy has got a bad vibe or something. I should probably avoid, and if you don't listen to that, maybe something does happen that you wish didn't, So it's just like different forms. So it was really lovely that I got to use my voice in a way that was connecting to myself and was also releasing my emotions, and also that we got to practice on each other, so we could sort of use our voices to like tone into the person's like body and see how they would feel after, see whether they would kind of relax, or whether they would feel better, or whether they had sort of any thoughts come up for them. So it was that kind of process. And we just had more and more advanced techniques that went with that as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so explain a little bit more about meditation and how that helps.
Well, the meditation that I was exposed to was sort of called a visual guided meditation. So this one, we would already have a process where we would sort of imagine, say, sort of scanning our bodies. There was a really cool technique we learned, which was almost to kind of clear our thoughts away,
right.
which was to imagine like the center of our head, like if there was some light going in, and it was a very strong, say, blue light, which actually represents, they say what blue color therapy, it represents calmness, tranquility, or like the stronger electric blue is a very dynamic color. So you sort of imagine, so I would have my eyes closed and I would sort of, okay, so this is to clear my thoughts. So I just went with it. I didn't know whether it was going to do anything, but I went with it. And it's like you imagine this light going through and it's clearing, like gunk and energetic thought forms through the center of your body and out, through the back of your spine and down your legs and all that, which is another technique which we call actually earthing. So you kind of like put it into the earth and you let it go completely. And at the same time, my teacher, because she was into we were talking about dolphins, so you actually kind of imagine like there's a like a little dolphin that goes in on top that kind of helps to push this light down, because
right.
we might actually have like a lot of mental blocks
right.
that we're trying to get through. So it is
so even just the thought of it,
yeah,
even without knowing what your blocks are, if you just think about them going out, it
it's
helps.
like you literally, and people do that through breath, like you can actually imagine that you're just letting go, from the day or whatever it is that's irking you. And big CEOs use this. They kind of go away. They if they need to kind of be in that zone, quiet zone, they just take 5 minutes and they breathe, and they sort of allow inspiration to come in, or they process it, and then it's like you kind of clear the space so that you're allowing the empty vessel to bring in, say, information that you need, or inspiration from yourself,
right,
in order to move forward.
Yeah, and that in itself is meditation, whether you know it or not. I mean, if you find yourself like just wanting to stare at the ceiling sometimes, or staring onto the ocean, or just looking at nature, that's you actually wanting to, I mean, for the lack of a better word, ground your earth. In some ways also you're sort of earthing yourself. I don't know, is that...
Because I mean, like, the thought of, again, it's about connection. So when you say earthing, it's like you being connected to the earth. And what does earth represent? It represents stability. It represents structure, being able to stand tall. It's also materialization, we get resources from the earth. So psychologically and emotionally, we connect to what that means for us. And our psyches have, it's not like we were born and our brains are empty. We actually have coding from our DNA, like we get societal information, and also, from our parents. So there's already some sort of programming in there. So for example, and I've heard this before, like people who they love nature, for example, they just know that they have to go to nature to recharge. And someone else say they like the ocean. They feel connected to the ocean. They have to go there and experience it. And now science is documenting that, they call it biofields, that they've already quantified that all these natural spots, say a waterfall or the ocean, they have rhythms and tides that work with our own natural circulation in our body to harmonize it. So literally, that's why there's a lot of things on YouTube now. If you just listen to ocean waves, you become harmonized again in your cycle. So like your hormones and your blood cycles, your lymph and all that can actually harmonize. Of course, it doesn't take away from being there in person. Right. Because you get the full sensory experience. You get the salt, salt is also known as a cleanser. Like it literally gets rid of like the negative charge that with static and things like that. So right. I mean, nature is one of the best healers out there, but we don't get enough of it, especially if we're living like somewhere like in Singapore, unless, well, you go to Sentosa, right? It's not too far away, but if you're in the city the whole time, then it is that kind of crazy, cramped feeling that you can get. But speaking of which, Sentosa has dolphins too, right? Dolphins.
So there's another. So are they another way to clear your charge? Or is like what actually happens when you are in the presence of dolphins?
Okay, so here's what dolphins do. We just to take it slightly back, is I'm sure if you're aware that our brains emit frequencies. Like you
can measure brainwaves when you're asleep and stuff. Exactly. So it's actually energy that's going out, and energy you can't really destroy. It just goes out there. So like a bad intention, just it goes a certain way. So just also be careful what you wish for. But in any case, you were saying. So what do they do?
So the brainwaves represent like different states of wakefulness or lethargy or things. They're meant to do different things. So say normally if you have to be alert, it's always in beta. Say it's a beta, it's like you're having a conversation, you're doing practical tasks. It's very beta brainwave. And then if you go a little bit faster, you go into alpha, which is where normally they say that's where ideas come from. So that's why a lot of people saying like study music has alpha brainwaves that have been generated by sound engineers to help you study, because that's the optimal brainwave for you to receive information, to get insights and all that. Now, if you go even higher in frequency, you get a rather lower in frequency. So you've got beta, you got alpha, and then you've got gamma, which is, they say a lot of monks have that because it's a very, very fast pulsing frequency, and you can actually get into high levels of stillness and all that. But at the same time, we never have one type of brainwave going on. It's always a combination of different things. Okay. So when you do, let's say if it's a healing thing or it's a de-stressing thing, when you slow down the brainwave, you get to, say, theta brainwave, which is about 4.7 hertz. And that is where it's kind of like when you're about to drop off to sleep. So it's like the twilight zone, you're still awake, but you're about to fall asleep, and that's very relaxing. And apparently that's when your body starts to naturally heal itself.
Wow.
So it's built in. The system is built in.
Yeah, so we naturally want to sleep because the body needs that sort of downtime, right?
Yeah, you need to process, you need to detax.
And so with dolphins, how's that related?
So dolphins naturally pulse a combination of theta brainwave states from they use their sonar. Like, I'm not sure exactly what the frequency is, but it vacillates between theta and alpha and sometimes gamma as well.
Wow.
So what they do is they surround you. They just know how to do this. Dolphins have always been a very emphatic creatures. So, you know, that's why people get rescued by dolphins. People, you know, who are in very low states of say, emotions. They happen to, I mean, you hear stories where they're just kind of waiting in the water and a dolphin comes and just sort of snuggles up to them, you know, or something like that. So they have a natural empathy to them. And so what happens is that when there've been a lot of, this was very early research, say, about 10 years ago, when in Australia there was this lady called, she's a French lady, Olivia, I forget her last name, but my teacher was working quite closely with her in researching how dolphins interact with people and how it could be used as a therapy. So autism was one of the things that was addressed because these children, they're in a high state, they're constantly in a high state of fluctuation. You know, their brain waves are off the charts. They're highly sensitive to stimuli. You know, so it makes them, they're just wired differently.
Right.
And the worst thing you can do is actually just to kind of medicate that and make it all flatline, because then they're not expressing also their highest potential.
Right.
You're taking away their ability to access things which someone else can't, you know, and a lot of autistic people have been known to be really amazing inventors.
Right.
And creative people who've had developments in the world, you know. So I think even Mark Zuckerberg is autistic or something.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like you don't want to take that away, but you want to manage it. And so the thing about autism is that it's very hard to socially connect with another human being.
Yes.
But with an animal, I mean, you don't even have to be autistic to appreciate the connection you get, say, with your pet dog.
Right.
Or your pet cat. And it has actually already been proven that your brain waves slow down. So you go more into a theta brainwave state when you're around animals.
And you can feel it, actually. Now that you mention it, you can feel it. Yeah, you do slow down. There's something about an animal that calms you.
Yeah, I mean, your mind is, because you don't have to deal with, say, someone triggers your fears. You know, people are complicated. People trigger your fears. They trigger your responses. But animals, because they don't talk back, you know, they can't talk back. You know, they're warm, they're fluffy. I mean, if you have unless you have an iguana or something, you know, I mean, to each his own. But it does create this sense of connection, and they do say that a lot of that mental chatter quietens down when you're with an animal. And also they do give you unconditional attention, unless you get a cranky one, you know, unless you get a cat that really doesn't want to be around you or something. But dolphins have, like you say, like I've mentioned, they have a natural empathy to them.
Right.
And just observing how they play around the say, for example, the autistic child or the people around, they play with them. There's a very sort of natural awareness that they have, you know. And also the thing is that they pulse their sonar, and initially, you know, they thought it was just playing sounds,
right?
But when they actually recorded it and they analyzed it and broke it down to the frequency, they could see the combination that was actually harmonizing the brain waves in the child.
Okay.
So and then later on they sort of just recorded it. So you're not in the water with the dolphin, but you're listening to it on the headphones. You're still getting the same effect.
Right. Wow. That's so amazing. So I've got a clip that so I was on a healing journey, actually. I was in Bali, and I wanted to meet a dolphin organically, but the one that I met was sort of like a part of a show. So even though I was swimming and touching with it, it was after the food so much more, and I felt that the focus wasn't, you know, so much about the people. But I went a little bit a ways from where the crowd was after they were drying off, and I just like, I want to meet a dolphin. So I stood on the edge of one of the other pools. And I just said, please, if there's a dolphin out there, you know, I'm sending my love out. If you're a sentient being, you would be able to feel my call. And so, and Stephanie was saying that sometimes she possibly is able to sense what a dolphin is saying, right?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to play this clip for the first time to her to see what she just felt about it in general.
Okay.
So this is it. Maybe I will get an interpretation. We'll see. I'm going to put it right here. Okay. And I'm going to try and play it. Technology. Okay. Let me play it. Okay.
Is it supposed to look that small on the screen?
Yeah, it is. A little small.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Jump. Can you jump? Jump in the air.
Okay, so that was it, and then
Wow.
and then other people started to come by, and so the dolphin was a bit shy and it left. So it was for me only. I don't know. Did you get anything?
Was
from
that your
one?
clip?
That was my
your-
clip.
was
That
your
was
clip?
me. I was talking
Oh
to
my
the dolphin, so
God.
that was my own
Oh my god.
little clip with it. My special, yeah. Sorry. Okay.
No, that's gorgeous. What dolphins do also, because they use their sonar to echolocate. You know, for example, when they're judging distances and they're also judging...
Like bats.
Yeah, like bats, exactly. Their sonar, which actually comes from this huge gland of... I'm not sure if it's a type of lipid. That's why they have the huge bumps. So it's kind of like... Spiritual people see it as if like an enlarged liquid crystal in front of their
Wow.
third eye, in front of their brains. So it actually helps to amplify the sound outwards. I mean, sound travels a lot faster in water. So it's sort of what they do is they use that to judge distances and also to locate where fish are. So normally what they do is when they send out, they're kind of judging the response of what's in front of them. And the thing about dolphins also, because of the higher IQ, so they're able to also pick up, you know, they have ears that are sort of placed quite high up there,
Right.
that actually pick up sound. They pick up brain waves. So you probably sent out a whole bunch of brain waves
Okay.
that they picked, that this particular one picked up, and came to sort of just see what would happen, because it looks like it's a communication click. It's like he's starting to sort of, okay, all right, I'm here. I'm just sort of making my presence known. I'm also sort of judging the feedback that's coming at me from the sounds, because their sounds bounce off the physical object
Right.
back
And then
at
they
them.
receive the
And then when they, like, you see when they turn their head like that and they're looking, they actually really are sussing you out. Like they're really
Right.
kind of observing you and and seeing what, you know, what is up with this person, and they can judge.
Right.
They can judge intention, because if you've ever been around, you know, I mean, even ourselves, like when you sit next to someone who's got a lot of stuff going on, let's say they're emotionally heavy,
Yeah.
you kind of feel this natural repulsion because that is like so heavy or something. Or when
Yeah.
a person's really joyful, everyone wants to talk to that person in the room.
Yeah.
So dolphins are sensitive to that as well. So they're gonna want to gravitate towards
Lighter.
you know, lighter vibrations or inviting vibrations. So this was a chance for you that you sent it out. You sent your brainwaves out. So this guy came back and he says like, hello, you know, it's like, I can
Oh,
hear
that's
you.
Awesome.
And you know, if you, let's say for example, if you didn't have those people around you, you might have been able to have a bit more of a contact. And
Right.
and all you do actually, if you ever have the chance to be with a dolphin, you know, just sort of be very aware of your breathing. Be very aware to not sort of like impose on the dolphin. You know,
Right.
like some people, like, you know, like little kids are like, oh my god, I want to touch it.
Yeah, because
But
they're
if
so
you-
sensitive, right?
It's so sensitive. So you just want to kind of be in that space. And if you can, just try to see if you can open your heart to it, and just be still and just acknowledge the presence, just the same way that you would for another person too, hopefully, you know.
Right.
Like, okay, I'm in your presence,
Right.
because it's very hard for us to have no expectation. You know, we're human beings, we desire things all the time.
Yeah.
And we're programmed to desire, you know, I want to feel good all the time, or I need to buy that to feel good. So
Yeah.
a lot of times, you know, we objectify. So if we objectify, say, a sensitive creature like a dolphin, they also pick up on that sort of vibration, you know. So and that's why when I think that's probably why when the whole bunch of people came in, it was just a lot of energy coming at the
Right.
dolphin. So he was just like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm done right now.
Yeah. So yeah, it's true. What you put out, you get back. We were just talking about this at dinner, right? Like, in terms of so back to thank you for that, by the way. That was really enlightening.
Thank you for showing me that. That was just so cute. I was like, oh.
It's one of the cooler moments in my life.
Yeah.
I just thought it was something really special.
I actually had a similar experience. I actually went to we have a hi
Yes.
Hui Peng.
Yes,
is
Hui
that
Ping.
Si Hui
Oh,
Peng?
no, Hui Peng, that's right.
Hui Peng.
Si Hui. She's
Si Hui.
asking, are there any kinds of dolphins can do that?
Yeah, there's you mean doing the is it you
Is
mean
that what
just
you mean?
types of dolphins
Yeah,
or
could you
do
clarify?
do you mean like types of dolphins who could do that connection thing? I mean there are many different species of dolphin. I think the one that you encounter the humpback one? The
Probably, I'm
pink
not sure. I can't. No,
humpback?
I don't think they were.
No, that was probably they have the ones that are native to. They have the bottlenose dolphins.
Right.
I'm
that
not sure.
one's
I think that
native
was
to
bottlenose.
Bali. So yeah.
They have that in Australia as well. It really depends. So yeah,
Right.
there's so many different types of dolphins. You've got the porpoises as well, and they're specific to different regions.
And one of the whales is a dolphin, right? One of the
Oh, which
whales
one
is a
is that
type
one?
of dolphin. I think
Yeah.
the blue. But anyway, so she's asking that are therapeutic to autistic children. Are there any types of dolphins particularly that are therapeutic to autistic children?
Oh, okay. Actually, that's also a good question because usually the ones that are more in the wild, there are dolphins that are specific to different regions. So the coastal dolphins are the ones that tend to have a little bit more. They're in shallow water, and they tend to be closer to land. So they don't. I think the pink humpback dolphin is the one that that mostly in Asia and also Australia are used for these techniques of therapy
Okay.
because they are in about 20 meters of water or more,
Right.
and they're quite used to having boats around. But basically, all dolphins are trainable, even though I don't like that word. It just means that they're. But the wilder dolphins also there is actually across the board. I know there are certain more wild, aggressive types. I'm not sure what the names are though.
Right.
But for the most part, if they have had a lot more interaction or exposure to humans, then they tend to be a little bit more, I guess, friendly, or they might be used for that research.
Right.
Yeah.
So in terms of, thank you for that question. In terms of healing, so let's move on to, so there's so many different kinds of healing out there. As a beginner who is interested in, being healthy, it's become commercial now. There's a whole trend of eating healthy, meditation, yoga, but on a deeper level, it's also working on your personal issues and blocks and improving your life. So
Yeah.
as someone who's stepping into this, how do I approach it? How do I know what healing works best for me? And how, this is a huge question, how do I suss out also who is a good teacher? I mean, who is not someone that is just buying into the commercialism and making money out of it with all their like it's just maybe sometimes even for show, like people themselves who are conducting these courses may not themselves be grounded or coming from a truthful place. How do I any suggestions on how to begin and suss out?
Yeah, no,
Because
that's a
they're-
very good question.
It's a big question. Like
It's a big question.
There are crystals there, and then how do I know what works for? Yeah, the crystals. There's tarot cards. There's
there's so
straw-
many things. The thing that I notice about with this is that when you start to ask those questions, like you go, somehow I feel like yoga, or I feel like there's a pull. I think a lot of people have that kind of natural pull because inside you've been asking, like you're asking for I need some help with this, or I want something different now, and I don't know what to do about it. It's amazing that if you actually just kind of, if you've already got that intention going, you've already thought about it over and over again, something's bound to pop up. It's kind of amazing. It's just like that dolphin, it's bound to come into your space.
Right, because I've been wanting it for so long.
You've been wanting it for so long. So something's going to show up, or you're going to see an image of a dolphin somewhere, or you're going to, or if it's yoga, for example, that you feel interested in, that's pretty easy to find. I mean, I think if anything, do some research. A lot of online reviews are available. People always kind of give stars, or if you're looking at a place or certain teachers. And then once you start going to those places, you'll be able to chat with the people who've been doing it for a while, and they'll be able to give you their opinion as well. So that's one way. Another way is you could always kind of Google certain keywords. So if you're looking for like meditation or, like breathing techniques or yoga or even sound healing,
Right.
you can kind of Google that as well as the location you're in and just sort of see what comes up. And then I'd say really go with your instincts, go
Right.
with what feels right. Go with like, okay, something about this is attractive to me, whether it's the graphic or whether it's the way it's written, just kind of explore that. Don't be afraid to, because it is about going outside of your comfort zone. It's not something you're used to doing.
Right.
And don't take anything at face value. Go in there, keep your integrity. If you're talking to that person and you don't get it, it's okay. You can try again. You don't have to convince yourself that this is the only thing that's out there for you, because it's amazing how you get connected to people and different things. You may think that this is the person, but then when you actually talk, you meet someone else at the gathering that may
Right.
actually give you more information to what you actually want. So again, it's people. It's being connected to what. Yeah, it's all connections as well. But I think go with what you are feeling that's right for you. And if you don't agree with that person is saying, don't force yourself to.
Right.
We don't have to start at knowing everything. We don't have to go into advanced meditation techniques when you first start out, because that is too overwhelming. It's like you go to the gym and suddenly you're doing an hour and a half full-on circuit training on your first day. I mean, hello.
Yeah, no,
that's
not
going to put you
realistic.
off.
Yeah. But in terms of what else is out there? Like, in terms of things like acupuncture, even and things like that, does that lend to the whole healing? Does that balance? Is it part of all that energetic sort of balancing it out?
Yeah, I mean, there's actually so many techniques out there, and they're all valid. I mean, there are good teachers and there are bad teachers. Like it's like the same. You can get a good English teacher and a bad English teacher.
Right.
And it is. I mean, most energetic healing stuff talks about the flow of chi
Right.
in your body. The flow of the cells, and we've all got. I mean, everything is vibration.
Yeah.
We're everything. Even our cells are
'Cause atoms
and
vibrate.
molecules. Yeah, they're
Like,
all
it's
vibrating
all the time, and we're made of that. So
Yeah.
and there's gravitational pulls of the earth and things like that. I mean, so as much as that's why there's like there are readings in the stars and all that is I mean, like it's that's to me, like, now I'm figuring out, like, oh, that's why there are readings from the stars, because these vibrations, these pulls affect vibrations and things like
Yeah.
that. So there is truth to it if you actually look to
Yeah, absolutely. And I
find
mean, when
answers.
I started off, it was this, the dolphin sound healing. And then I moved on to other explorations because I came across different things and they helped me at that time. Sometimes like you may move on from one exploration to the other because you've learned what you can from there, or that's helped you at that time, and then maybe you don't need it for a while, so it really depends. But like, when coming back to like, if you encounter like bad teachers or whatever, because there are a lot of phonies out there, the people, because especially if you're vulnerable, if you're looking for a healing methodology or something, or a healing session, to clear emotions or whatever, you're in a vulnerable position, and there will be people out there who are in a space to kind of profit from that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you've got alarm bells going off, then probably listen to it. But anyway, if you do end up getting conned or whatever, take it as a learning experience.
Right.
Really. Like, I mean, you may have burnt, say, a couple of $100 or something. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's just a small crystal you buy or something like that might be fake. I mean, I'd say, because initially when you start out, you really don't know what you're going for. And you don't really know how to sense, unless you're a very, very sensitive person, that gets impacted by emotions naturally, then
Right.
you might get that sense of like, oh, okay, I don't know if I
Yeah.
can trust this.
But it's chicken and egg, right? People searching are the ones that don't know how to sense. That's why they're searching. They're searching to have more clarity and to be able to be more sensitive.
Yeah,
So it's yeah.
So I'd say go with the keywords. Like, go with, if you want clarity, just say, okay, I want to be clear about this. Send, just like how he sent out that clear intention, I want to connect to a dolphin. Literally, you go, okay, so what is it that I really want? You can ask yourself, what is it that I'm looking for in this situation right now? So if, say, for example, I'm wanting more clarity as to what to do in my life now because I'm done with this pattern, then, the words like clarity, that alone sends out a vibration that can draw amazing things to you when you're least expecting it. So you could hear a song on the radio, or you could come across an article, that just helps you in that moment. And meditation, what is meditation? Right? And meditation is that connection. That's connecting to yourself And I mean, there's different types of meditation, but there's also the meditation to sort of just accept what's happening. Although that's really hard. I mean, sometimes we find ourselves in really horrible situations. But just to kind of just breathe and go, okay, it's happening right now. I know I want something else. I want a different outcome. I want to say, be free of this. So that's already a desire you're putting out there. So in that moment, you're breathing and you're accepting where you are. You actually kind of allow it to shift a little bit. When you're resisting it, when you're saying, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this, you're actually giving charge to it.
Yeah, like
because you're focusing on it.
What you resist persists. It's such a true thing. I mean, if there's a fight, if you resist it more, that person's gonna fight back more. But if you smile and just don't offer any resistance, that can't stay for very long. It's just gonna have to go away, right? Yeah. So at this current moment, are you can someone approach you, say, to have what kind of healing like do you offer to people? Or are you busy now being a full-time actress? I
always kind of go back and forth sometimes. I find that the stage is also a wonderful place for healing to happen. It happens for me a lot actually when I play a character, because funnily enough, I don't know whether it happens to you, Dwayne, but when I play a character, it's almost like there's some part of me in the character that I have to like process.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think after not acting for a bit, I always feel a little bit like there's still things that I'm not getting out. So when I'm actually acting, like I'm getting things, I'm clearing things. So yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah, so I mean,
so right now, no, sorry, you're gonna add.
No. So I was just gonna say that I'm doing that right now. I'm here in Singapore till because the show is on the 26th, which is like next week after next, till the 4th of June. So once the show starts, I actually have more free time, and I'm actually available. I do sort of one-on-one consultations with the voice, and it's sort of like a lot of awareness principles. I use the sound a little bit to kind of help with the brainwave balancing. As well as helping someone to sort of quiet down the chatter so you can hear your inner self more. Right. So, there's a whole combination of techniques I use with sound and with something called theta healing, which actually looks at your belief systems and how...
that's not the same as theta as the brainwaves that are about...
It's called theta healing because the process actually has been charted to put you in that state as well. Oh,
I see. Okay.
Because it's not just sound that can put you into theta, theta brainwave state. You can actually use, just breathing. You can get into a theta brainwave state. So these are just one of the many techniques that I use.
Right.
Normally people come with a question, like a specific thing that they're working on, or they're trying to clear, or if they got a new start, they're thinking about leaving a job or something, and things are not going well or something like that. So we start there, and then there's a whole process where we sort of look at what is causing that, and then ways to kind of energetically let it go. It's like a block wherever it is.
Right.
It could be in the body, it could be in the subconscious mind,
right.
It could be in your aura, things like that. And using the sound and using the techniques, I sort of help you to gain more awareness, and also use some of the techniques yourself as well to let it go. So, but I'm also doing a circle, actually, a support circle, calling it. And so I didn't tell you this one because this is next Sunday, actually, 22nd of May, from 4 to 6 at this place called Blue Lotus. I think you can Google it. I'm not sure what it is. Okay. It's very close to Juchiat, I think.
I'll put the link below.
Blue Lotus.
Anyway.
Yeah, we'll put it down there.
Give me the details and then I'll put it all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a full moon. So the thing about full moons is that it's this really... it's a powerful point astrologically, and it's very traditionally being used, especially in plant growing, to kind of bring a harvest. It's at that point where the cycle of planting goes to actually you're about to harvest your crops during a full moon. So it usually means that if you've been working on something, that this is when the energies are like really potent, because the tides are also being pulled by the moon.
Right.
And also our tides inside are being pulled as well. So
because
that's why
we're made of what 70% water, right?
Yeah.
So we are being. That's why we are also affected.
Yeah.
And it's not just witchcraft or anything. These things are just matter of fact and science.
I have a cousin who works as a nurse, And she's said, like, she's worked as a nurse for many years now, and whenever a full moon happens, like, she gets more people coming in for psychological, like, diagnosis and getting pills. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So it happens. There are clues all over if you look for them.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a surprise question. I know from a couple that was in Malacca doing a certain theater festival, and I think one of them picked up a spirit, right? I think you kind of know who I'm gonna.
Yeah.
And they told me they went to you. I was like,
oh,
wow,
did they?
Did they come to you to clear? Was it you or someone else?
Was it me?
I don't know.
But I've had that before. I mean, that's quite common.
It was following this person around, and you said that you. So I was like surprised. You can do that. You can sort of suss out what the spirit's about and clear that and
well, it's I mean it sounds a little bit more out there, but I mean, if you talk about like just I mean, we've all felt energies, we've all felt, you know, emotions or people, you know, like bad vibes, or you go to a certain place and it feels heavy or it feels lighter. I mean, sad to say, there are, you know, our souls, you know, do pass on, and some souls don't pass on, and so they hang around, usually attached. I mean, we talk about attachment, right? What we desire, we're attaching to, say, mom or dad, and we can't let go or something. So these are souls who've passed on, which, you know, are for whatever reason unable to move forward, you know, on their soul journey. And usually they get sort of attracted to certain kinds of energy. So, for example, if you're going through something in your life, it's not to scare anybody or anything like that, but if you're going through lower emotions, if you're feeling very down, for a prolonged period of time, you generate that energy in your field. You know, you're constantly thinking about it and that sort of thing. So if you happen to be in a
so that's a low, you know, that's a low vibration.
That's a low vibration. So when they say you're low vibration, you tend to also have a very thin aura, or you have holes in your aura because your energy isn't circulating very well. So you're a bit more vulnerable to certain things which, for example, you know, they vibrate at the same level. So, for example, if they're a soul that hasn't passed on, it's, you know, they usually are in quite a low vibration themselves.
Right,
so
because
it's like a resonance.
Unless you're in a physical body, your vibration tends to be lower, right? Because there are different stages, right?
Yeah.
Like there's like ghost or like spirit, and then like, I don't know, there are different stages of vibrations for each of them, right?
Yeah, I mean, but the souls that have not passed on, I mean, they vibrate, they don't have a natural source of light. Like, all of us have that sort of, you know, our souls are connected to, well, hopefully you think so, connected to your source of what, you know, keeps you going, your life force, you know, they call it life force, and your chi and all that. But when you don't have a physical body, you're meant to actually, you know, transcend as a soul, whatever. But if you haven't, you know, if you went through a trauma, let's say, a lot, you know, places where a lot of horrible things have happened, where people have been killed or whatever, you know, like, I mean, then there's a high concentration of that energy.
It's trapped? Is it trapped
it's
some
sort
ways?
of, well, it's almost like the consciousness of that soul is linked to what happened. And they're still attached to it. They may not even be aware that it's over.
Right.
So, I mean, I did actually do an episode in Malaysia of sound healing, but we kind of tested it out in this house that was haunted. So that's like going into a different thing already. Right. But, you know, the place was affected by the energy. The place really did feel like it had very little life force. It felt very unhappy. You know, you could just feel it, like, because we're all sensitive. We feel emotions, you know, that are directed towards us or in the space. So, I mean, to cut a long story short, you know, if you're at a low point, it's like what you put out comes back to you. So very highly likely that you could sort of attract that experience to you. Or sometimes, and this has happened before, where the soul of the deceased or whatever, they recognize something in you that is familiar to them.
Right.
So, for example, if you look like, say, their son or something, you know, and it's an old spirit or whatever, you know, so they kind of go, oh, hello, this is, you know, I mean, I don't know how many of you are freaking out right now. So, no, I mean, it's not very...
A lot of people watch ghost stories anyway, right? Like,
yeah.
just,
oh, yeah, it's so
there's
common,
a fascination.
actually. There is, yeah. But, I mean, you know, some people actually do have a life purpose for working with this stuff. You know, they call mediums or whatever. So even if you don't know that you are one, some people have actually always been able to see
I
them.
haven't, so I'm like...
You haven't? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you're fine then.
But you were saying, so some people can see, so they have a gift to be able to interact.
And they have a gift to actually help these beings out because they are stuck. Yeah. You know, and just like if you feel stuck and you're going to a healer or you're going to some meditation class, you know, I mean, Yeah, people are, oh, good. Okay, you're not freaked out. That's really good. Just fascinated. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's actually, to me, it's like, it's just a matter of fact. These things do exist and stuff, like, but then the whole industry, Hollywood has built up a whole, you know, different idea of it. So it's become this, you know, either a scary thing or like, you know, so it's become there's, I guess that's, in some ways, there's a stigma to the other world,
Yeah.
so to speak, right?
Yeah. Actually, we sing about death in this Jacques Brel. I don't know how many of you remember that. I read the start. I mean, it's all about transitions, you know,
Right.
and some people, I've read so much about what happens after after you die, and based on, you know, people who've actually had that kind of, what do you call that? Like when they've actually passed on, but they come back in again.
Right, I'm not sure what it's called, but yeah, when you have that sort of,
Somebody knows.
you see the tunnel at the end of the, you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and then you, yeah, it's fascinating. This whole thing is fascinating. What happens after, and you know, and I guess many people do believe. I mean, I have so many friends and relatives and family who still, you know, that's where you go and offer tidings at the grave or the niche, and then you kind of talk to, you still talk to, you know, it's energetically.
Yeah.
Like that's the big word, right? I think this episode, there's a lot of
energy.
Energy is such an amazing thing.
I've known a lot of people who've gone through, you know, very, very difficult things in life. You know, like deaths of loved ones, you know, quite close in a row. So it's a lot of death in life, or you know, like personal trauma. You know, I mean, if you haven't gone through that, wonderful. And if you have gone through that, it usually means that there is a larger purpose that you have in life. It usually means that you are... oh, you got a sense of humor there. I like that. Like at the end, just hope it's not a train coming. I wouldn't mind if it was the Hogwarts Express. You know, that'd be fun. I get to go to Hogwarts. But yeah, that really, that's so cute. Like you change that vibration immediately. You see. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's usually, let's say, I mean, if you're going through something, it usually means it's something's about to change in your life. You know, it's self-instigated. It's something inside of you that's going, I'm ready, you know, for the next thing, or I'm done with this circle. I want to spiral out now, and I want something larger and bigger. And it's meant to scare you because you haven't experienced it yet. And unless you're a type A personality that just sort of bashes down doors, which is fine as well, you know, if you are. And if you're not, you know, when you step out of that circle, you experience something new, it just expands you as a person. Absolutely. Yeah.
So you brought some, so basically, speaking of different things that can help you, crystals or what, tarot cards, there's also another stigma. It's like, ooh, is it like black magic or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But to me, I think it's not really the cards in itself. I think a lot of it comes from you. It's what you put out energetically too. So it's like you put it out there. So sometimes the answers come back in the form of tarot cards because it's easier to interpret what it means.
Yep.
But it's generally your own doing. So it's nothing, you know, to do with anything scary or whatsoever. So did you bring a deck to show?
I did actually. Yeah, okay. This is a deck of cards that I just brought. I've just bought them because I've been having, I mean, nature and me are like best friends. You know, I love nature. I love trees and flowers and all that. So this is a deck called, let's see if I can open it. Oh,
it's new.
It's really
gosh,
new. Like this is like, we have popped the cherry.
Yes.
This deck of
it's
cards.
So pretty. Oh my gosh.
It's really pretty. It's called the Flower Therapy Cards from a wonderful lady called Doreen Virtue, who is a therapist, an energy healer, and she works with a bit more with, say, the angel energies and the fairy energies. So that's another whole topic. That's a whole other topic.
We only have 7 more minutes, and this is like, there's just endless.
But this one,
what did you buy this for?
This is okay. I have a fascination with. I've been feeling like I need to be in my body a lot more because I'm someone who lives a lot in my head, a lot in my imagination and my emotions. So I lose touch with my body a lot. So for me, yoga is great. You know, sound is great because they do say like if breathing is the precursor to sound, but once you make a sound, it is real. You know, it's like you're saying my name is Stephanie, and you're making it real. So that's why it's really good if you are speaking what you want. You know, you're making it real for yourself.
Right. It's like thought to action almost.
Exactly. Also. So when I talk about the body, some of us are too much in our body. So we need different techniques to elevate that consciousness.
Right.
I have been very drawn to oils recently, actually. You know, those flower essences, things that you take or you rub on your body, that you breathe in, the smell.
It immediately does something to you. I don't know.
Immediately.
It's like you just, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of associations in the mind about what those smells mean.
Right.
But also the flowers, you know, colors and also their vibrations. And flowers represent, they're very interesting. They're very different from different stages of plant. You know, you've got the seed, which represents the untapped potential. If you think about of the tree. So they normally, you know, associate, like if, for example, if you're in that zone in your life, then you're still, you haven't been planted in the soil. You haven't planted your idea into that soil yet to let it grow.
Right.
But when it comes to a flower, what does a flower represent? It represents
blossom, like reaching your potential. I don't know, beauty and blooming and all that.
And exactly, and they're representations of. I mean, it's celebration. It is like the most beautiful form. You know, of the plant or whatever.
The reward, whatever it is.
Yeah, you know, and you get the smell and all that. So I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I'm right at the start of my explorations with these, but I'm very interested to see how it affects emotions and how it affects, you know, your thinking, your mind, and all that. It's very herb based, and you know, those old technologies to do with flower essences. So, I just bought this card because I want to kind of study the different qualities of the flowers, and I want to get to know how they can help heal us, because they're great for so many different things.
Excellent. Yeah, and the same way I got myself cards. They're not by, I think these are not by Doreen. My other one is, but this one, like in the same way you say flowers, nature can teach us so much. The qualities about it, right? These are natural qualities. And I got an animal deck here, and I feel like animals also have like different qualities. So they all teach you something, and I've used them I've just sent out energy to, you know, and ask for answers, and sometimes
those are great.
It really works. Like, you know, I get like it's like why is so much happening to me, and then I pick up the card like the porcupine. It's like, because you're innocent. And you know, and therefore, what is it about innocence? And you kind of learn like, oh, I'm innocent. And that's why I'm always like trusting, and you know, they're good qualities, but you also are more aware that, okay, maybe I got to learn to be a bit more you know, like I need to decipher a little bit more what's happening around me. So like there are always answers. I feel like these help. True or not, it's like I mean, I feel like it does point me to a direction.
You know, and like, because the Native Americans have always used animal totems, you know, to chart like life cycles and also qualities that they want to embody. Because I mean, if you think about, it's very simple. If you think about a lion, okay, you know, like Singapore, Lion City, the qualities of a lion, right? The king of the forest, strong, you know, a master. So when people think about lion, I mean, that's one of the easier recognized symbols.
Yeah.
So it's more like you're aligning with those qualities in yourself.
Yeah.
You're amplifying that for yourself. And that's going to help you on that part of your journey if that's what you need.
Yeah.
You know, so
but it's all about the exploration. Like, find out what you need and what helps you.
Yeah, it's not something that's outside of you. Like, these cards are actually mirrors. Yeah. They're mirrors to what you're actually asking for. So it's not something like the power is in the cards. No, the cards just lend you what you need to know for that moment. Like, for example, this one, Wise Soul.
Ooh.
Like, I don't know, I mean, if you could like just sort of see what the color is doing
can I touch
to you.
it? Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You know, I mean,
see what the color is doing to you.
If it works for you at all, because some people don't feel connected to flowers, that's fine. You know,
and there are all kinds of different cards. You can, like, Doreen Virtue herself has so many different types of cards. Just pick out what, you know, what appeals to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I really hope this has dispelled that whole, like, oh, you know, tarot cards kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more in popular culture now, I feel, as well.
Yeah. Wise Soul.
Yeah.
You were gonna say, sorry.
Let me just see if I can, because I was gonna tie it into the animals and the dolphins.
And you can use cards together sometimes, or you can mix decks,
you can mix
right?
them. You can mix them. But if you think about dolphins, right? What comes to mind when you think about a dolphin?
You're asking me.
Yeah, asking you or you guys.
I would say innocence, empathy, fun, joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do they? You know, they have got this. They're fast in the water. I read this beautiful article that mentions that dolphins know how to tread that fine line between intelligence and instinct. So just think about that for a second. I mean, if you're needing to kind of balance those aspects, like if you're someone who always goes on instinct or someone who always just uses your intellect to decide everything, you might need a balance between the two. So, for example, if you see dolphins around you, I don't know. Who sees dolphins around them? Unless they're in the ocean
very
or something.
lucky if they do.
I don't know, yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe I should pick a card up for everybody.
Sure, let's do that.
Let's do that. Okay.
Let's do that.
So what we do is we do an
Just
intention.
send an
Yeah,
Send an
so we
intention
just say
for an
that
answer.
we have this wonderful deck of cards which have offered, itself up today to help humanity, which is what the intention of the cards in the first place when they were made. They were made to help people out.
Mm-hmm.
So aligning with that, okay. So we just asked for the best, the highest outcome right now, the most helpful message for those of us watching today and who will watch whenever they do this episode, that it will help them on their journey to become aligned with who they are and what they want. Anything else?
That's so beautiful.
Ooh.
I think that's a good thought.
We had a
Something
card
fell
popped
out.
out.
Usually that
one flew out, and usually that means that
is the card.
it's saying hello. Oh wow! Look at that.
What does that say?
World energy.
That's powerful because we're reaching out to everyone, right? So that's a world
crazy.
energy thing that's going on. See, it's always pretty beautiful. So that's
Look at
because
that.
I was thinking like, how does one card help everyone? But no, it actually makes sense. So world energy.
The earth is going through a transition of energy, and your sensitive body is feeling it. You're not alone. Accept the help of others. Oh,
That's a really good message.
that is so good. So don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to extend yourself out. And if you feel like you need to contact someone, or if you feel like you need to even contact him or me or
Anyone,
just
like,
to have a chat or get more information or open up to someone. If you're not someone who likes to share your emotions and you feel like you actually do, that would help you. Just find somebody you feel that you can trust and just do that, and that's already a healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And for those of you like Sihui and Jaron, whoever
Yeah,
that's
thank
been
you so
following,
much.
thank you so much. And that's what I'm doing. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And for me, it's like I'm also reaching out in some ways, and like it's fun. What a beautiful episode.
I know.
So unique, like sharing.
I know. I
different-
feel like I want to do a card for you though, but maybe that might be an outtakes video. Or
Outtakes
something.
video. Yeah.
Stay tuned if you want to see what Dwayne's card says about him.
Yep. Yeah, we'll film it right after, and then I'll put a link below. And,
Yeah.
awesome. Let's do that. All right.
And,
but for
tell
now,
you what we can do is I'm feeling pretty generous. So if you see this video and you like the video and you would like to basically get, say, a card reading or something from me, we can make that really simple. We can actually, you can express your desire and I could throw in a free trial card reading for you if you'd like.
Awesome.
So if you're in Singapore, or I think if you're in the local area, that'd be great. Yeah.
all right. So you
Yeah.
can contact Stephanie.
Yeah,
I'll put
we'll
a
put the
link.
link down. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you
Okay.
very much. And I always invite my guests before they say goodbye, as they're saying goodbye, to click on the stop streaming button. That's been a tradition.
Okay.
So you'll be the next one to do that. Just click on it when you're ready and
Okay.
say goodbye.
Okay.
Well, it's goodbye for now.
Well, it's goodbye for now. Send lots of love to this one because
this
he's
one.
doing amazing work,
Aw.
and me as well. And
Come see your show.
Come see my show if you want, and I will sing to you. I will.
Beautiful
La, la.
voice.
This one too. Okay.
Aw. Bye.
Goodbye.